We've watched them for decades. We've laughed with them on our morning coffee breaks, followed their story from young love on a soap opera to the anchors of a morning show that feels like family. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, they've always seemed to have it all. The glamour, the laughter, the beautiful family, the kind of partnership that makes you believe in forever. It looked effortless. But what happens when the camera stops rolling? When the makeup comes off and the bright lights fade? Recently, Kelly Ripa did something extraordinary. She didn't just share a highlight, she revealed a painful, hidden truth. And in that moment of raw vulnerability, she didn't break her marriage, she revealed the shocking, powerful secret that has held it together for nearly 3 decades. This isn't a story about a celebrity scandal. This is a story about a promise made in the quiet, and the reaction that speaks louder than any vow. Stay with me, because what Kelly revealed might just change the way you see your own relationships, your own resilience, and the hidden strength you've carried all your life. The morning show confession, more than just tears. A soft focus, slightly dramatized reenactment. We see a woman from behind, sitting at a vanity, shoulders slumped. Then a quick cut to a photo of Kelly Ripa on the set of Live, looking pensive. Imagine the scene. The live studio is buzzing with its usual pre-show energy. The audience is chatting, the crew is making final adjustments. Kelly Ripa sits in her chair, the script in her hands, but her mind is somewhere else entirely. The topic that day was something seemingly commonplace: parenting adult children. For many of us in this stage of life, it's a minefield of letting go, of watching our babies make their own way in the world, of navigating the complex shift from manager to consultant. But for Kelly, this topic opened a floodgate. She began to speak, not from a prepared talking point, but from a place so deep and so personal, the air in the studio changed. Her voice, usually so bright and effervescent, grew quiet. She confessed to a profound, aching sadness, a feeling of being anchorless. She described the emptiness of a house that was once filled with the glorious, chaotic noise of 3 growing children. She talked about the silence that now greets them, a silence that isn't peaceful but profound. This was more than empty nest syndrome. This was a grief, a palpable, painful mourning for a chapter of her life that had slammed shut. She had dedicated over 2 decades to being mom as her primary identity, the scheduler, the cheerleader, the nurse, the confidant. And now, that job, in its most hands-on form, was over. She admitted to crying in rooms that were too tidy, to feeling a loss of purpose that her successful career somehow couldn't fill. This was the painful truth. This was the crack in the perfect facade. The host leans in closer to the camera, voice dropping to a near whisper. And the entire time she spoke, the cameras didn't just stay on her. They panned to the man sitting beside her, to Mark Consuelos. Quick cut to a photo of Mark looking at Kelly, his expression intense and unreadable. His reaction was everything. He didn't shift uncomfortably. He didn't try to jump in with a joke to lighten the mood. He didn't offer a platitude like, "Oh, honey, they'll be back for the holidays." No, he just listened. He turned his entire body toward her, his eyes locked on hers. His expression was a complex tapestry of love, of pain for her, of deep, unwavering attention. He was holding space for her grief in a way that was so visceral, you could feel it through the screen. He wasn't just hearing her words, he was absorbing her sorrow. In that single, silent reaction, he said more than any scripted speech ever could. He said, "Your pain is my pain. Your emptiness is my emptiness. We are in this together." But here's the cliffhanger. This public moment of support was just the tip of the iceberg. What happened when they went home, away from the safety of the studio audience and the cameras? The real test was about to begin, and it involved the promise they made to each other almost 30 years ago, a promise that was about to be put through its toughest trial yet. Transition. The screen shifts to a nostalgic, grainy filter. We see images of a young Kelly and Mark from the mid-1990s on the set of All My Children. Section 2. The origin story. A promise forged in fire. To understand the power of that silent reaction, we have to rewind the tape, all the way back to 1995. Kelly Ripa was the bubbly, ambitious Haley Vallon on All My Children. Mark Consuelos was the new guy, the brooding, handsome Mateo Santos. Their on-screen chemistry was immediate, but it was off-screen where the real drama unfolded. In a story that has now become Hollywood legend, Mark initially asked Kelly out. She refused, citing a no-dating coworkers policy. But the attraction was undeniable, a force of nature that neither could resist for long. Their first date was a secret. Then their entire relationship became one. They hid from producers, from the press, from their colleagues. In 1996, they did the most secretive thing of all. They eloped to Las Vegas, a spontaneous decision made with the fierce, certain love that the world was not yet invited to see. This is where the foundation was laid. Their relationship was not built in the glow of the public eye, but in the shadows, in the private space they carved out for themselves against the backdrop of burgeoning fame. They learned from day one that their bond was a sanctuary, a separate reality from the personas they presented to the world. It was in this nascent, fiercely protected space that the unspoken vows were made. Beyond the for better or worse, there was a deeper, more granular commitment. I will see the real you, not the one you show the world, and I will protect that real you with everything I have. This wasn't just romantic idealism, it was a survival mechanism. As Kelly's star ascended, first with Live and then with her own production company, and as Mark built an esteemed career of his own on shows like Riverdale, this private foundation became their anchor. The world saw Kelly Ripa, the effervescent morning host. The world saw Mark Consuelos, the charismatic actor. But at home, they were just Kelly and Mark, the two kids who fell in love on a soap opera and built a life. The promise was simple in theory, profoundly difficult in practice. Your vulnerability is safe with me. For nearly 30 years, this promise was tested in small ways: career disappointments, the exhausting newborn phases, the relentless paparazzi, the public scrutiny. But the empty nest presented a challenge of a different magnitude. This wasn't an external pressure, it was an internal earthquake. It struck at the very core of their shared identity. They were no longer parents in the day-to-day sense. They were back to being just the two of them. And one of them was drowning in the silence. Section 3. The real crisis, when the cameras stopped rolling. The drive home from the studio that day was likely quiet. The emotional hangover from such a public confession is real. The vulnerability high wears off, and the fear sets in. Did I say too much? Was I too raw? For a public figure like Kelly, whose brand is often tied to effervescent strength, this was a radical departure. This is where most relationships face a critical juncture. The supportive partner, having offered public comfort, might retreat at home, expecting things to go back to normal. They might feel the weight of their other's sadness and, not knowing how to fix it, become distant. This is the silent killer of long-term partnerships, the inability to sit with a partner's unresolved pain. But Mark's reaction on air was merely the public manifestation of a private protocol. According to sources close to the couple and piecing together their later, more reflective comments, what happened next was the true application of their decades-old promise. He didn't try to fix her. This is the shocking, powerful secret. In a culture obsessed with solutions, with silver linings, with looking on the bright side, Mark Consuelos did the one thing that requires immense strength. He accepted that this was not a problem to be solved, but a season to be endured with her. 1. He validated, he didn't minimize. Instead of saying, "it'll get better," he reportedly said, "this is really hard, isn't it?" This simple reframe is a psychological masterstroke. It tells the grieving person, your feelings are not an overreaction. They are a valid response to a real loss. It makes the pain shared rather than something the grieving person carries alone. He created a grief-proof container. In the weeks that followed, he established new routines that acknowledged the new reality without forcing a false cheerfulness. Long, quiet walks where talking was optional, watching old home movies together, allowing the tears to flow without shame. He understood that she needed to process the grief, not bypass it. He redefined their why. With the children's primary hands-on role gone, the central project of their partnership for 23 years was complete. This left a vacuum. Mark's silent promise was now an active one. We are not just co-parents, we are Kelly and Mark. We are the adventure. We are the next chapter. Our purpose is not behind us, it is right here. He began planning small, unexpected things, a last-minute trip to a town they'd never visited, recreating their first date. He wasn't just distracting her, he was actively building a new shared identity, proving that the two of them alone were still a compelling, complete story. Section 4. The shocking secret, the power of radical co-regulation. The secret that held their marriage together isn't a secret vow or a unique compatibility. It's a psychological principle known as co-regulation, practiced at a radical level. Co-regulation is the process by which one person's nervous system influences another to become more calm and regulated. A mother soothing a crying baby is co-regulation. A partner holding your hand during a stressful moment is co-regulation. What Mark did for Kelly was a masterclass in adult co-regulation in the face of existential grief. Her system was in a state of dysregulation, sadness, anxiety, a sense of free fall, the anchorless feeling. Her nervous system was signaling danger and loss. His system remained grounded, present, and stable. He did not absorb her anxiety and become anxious.